Since the World Cup is starting this week, I figured it'd be an interesting way to take a look at some of the fraudulent sites that have been spun up in the last couple of weeks in preparation for the World Cup. OCCIP recently published this flash alert around some fraudulent websites that were created to sell tickets and fake merchandise online. And the really nice thing with this report is, one, there's a very good list of seed domains that we can use to start to pivot on. And two, we get a little bit of a background on this organization. So we can see it's tied to Ghost Stadium, a Chinese-speaking cyber criminal operation. And the thing that kind of caught my eye here was where it actually calls out this group has developed a scalable fraud ecosystem. So we wanted to see what else we could find inside of Silent Push. I'm going to use one of our seed domains here to start. Inside of Silent Push, just starting with our searches that we would normally run. And this is where I can start to get a little bit of information. So I have my DNS data that I can use to pivot on. I have my web search data that I can start to use. In this case, though, I want to do something a little bit different. I want to use the new Silent Push MCP server. So if you have any new AI or agentic SOC platforms, or even if you're just kind of using Claude, this is a good way where we can really start to build out these investigations. So you can see here I have my prompt. One, asking to kind of investigate and find the larger cluster. But two, I actually want to generate queries that I can use to track new infrastructure. And as we're going through, we can see we kind of have the baseline enrichment where we have some different items that we can use to pivot on. The favicons, we can see some kind of similar titles across some of these different seed domains. And as we're kind of going through here, we can see a number of domains are kind of discovered right away. Further, we can see pivots on these. We start to get an idea of where these pivots are being made. One, on the favicon that's being reused. Two, we can also see a pattern in the way domains are being registered. So 2 3-letter prefix, 26 FIFA, shop site top. Now we have a couple of reliable ways we can discover new sites that are following these patterns being created. Interestingly enough, today is actually the first day of the World Cup. We see a spike in domains that were actually registered today, about 227 domains that are brand new. But all of these things we can start to use inside of our security tooling as well. So if I kind of scroll to the bottom, we have this generate a nice little report on how all of this infrastructure is kind of created and managed. But what I really want to come down to here is where we get into some of the queries that we can use. So we saw there are patterns in the way the domains are being registered as part of this campaign. Now I have a query here that I can use to actually track any new domains inside of Silent Push that match these patterns for how these domains are being registered. We can also use the content. So we saw the favicons are being reused. The titles are pretty similar across all of these. And these are all things that we can use directly inside of Silent Push. So if I come back into the platform here, I'm going to come into our context graph search. And I'm just going to drop in this query that was generated. And now what I can start to see as my results are being returned, we can start to see a lot of the kind of similar sites that are mentioned in this original report. We can find a lot of them very quickly here, using these different patterns. Now, the other thing that I want to do with this is, once we have these patterns, I want to watch for any new sites that match this. Whether I want to feed this into my SIEM or a watch list, a block list, I'm concerned about my users clicking on these links. Now I can come back into something like my SOAR platform. I'm in XSOAR here. But this is where I can take those same queries. These are things that I can run once a day to query based off of those favicons. I can query based off of those DNS record patterns. And then I can really just kind of combine those results. I can dedupe the domains. I can query my Splunk instance. I can put it into a watch list. Now that we have these patterns, we can start to automatically track new infrastructure that matches this and make sure we're actually getting this data into our security tools so we can start to build our own preemptive lists. Lastly, what I want to call out here as well, as we've gone out and kind of enriched this cluster, we've also used that to kind of build detections as well. So in this case, now not only do I have a couple of Silent Push queries I can use for detecting new domains, but based off of that larger cluster that we've investigated, I also have a Splunk detection that I can use as well. So with those seed domains, we've identified more information that we can use. In this way, we have a number of different ways now using Silent Push data in the MCP server, really to build out a preemptive workflow with the tools in our security stack that we already have in place.